Welcome to Vault of Secrets, where the strange becomes truth. Today, we're unlocking 5 of the most chilling unsolved mysteries you've probably never heard of. These are the cases that defy explanation, the stories that linger in the shadows, leaving investigators and armchair detectives alike completely stumped. I'm a cryptic final message to a voice that vanished into the night. These mysteries have remained unanswered for decades. Are you ready to journey into the unknown? Let's begin. Our first case takes us to Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia. On December 1st, 1948, a well-dressed man was discovered lying lifeless on the sand. There were no signs of a struggle, no obvious cause of death. His clothes had all their labels meticulously cut out, and he carried no wallet, no identification, nothing to tell the world who he was. An autopsy revealed congestion in his organs, suggesting poisoning, but no trace of any known poison was ever found. The case grew even stranger when a hidden pocket was discovered sewn into his trousers. Inside was a tiny rolled-up piece of paper torn from a book. On it were just 2 words, Tamam Shud. This phrase, Persian for it is finished or the end, was traced back to a rare copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The very book it was torn from was later found in the back of a local man's car, containing a faint handwritten code that has never been deciphered. Who was the Somerton man? Was he a spy, a jilted lover, or something else entirely? To this day, his identity and the meaning of his final cryptic message remain a complete and utter mystery. Next, we travel to rural Minnesota on the night of May 14, 2008. 19-year-old Brandon Swanson was driving home from a party when his car slid into a ditch. He called his parents, telling them he was unhurt and near the town of Lind. He said he was going to walk towards the lights of the town. His parents drove out to find him, staying on the phone with him the entire time. They searched the area near Lind, but couldn't see him. Brandon grew increasingly frustrated, unable to understand why they couldn't see each other. He told them he was going to cut through some fields and head towards a friend's house in a nearby town. For 47 minutes, he described his surroundings, fences, fields, and the sound of running water. Then, abruptly, in the middle of a sentence, he shouted, "Oh, Shasterisk T," and the line went dead. That was the last anyone ever heard from Brandon Swanson. Extensive searches turned up his car, but Brandon himself was gone. Cell phone records later revealed his call had pinged off a tower 25 miles away from where he thought he was, placing him in a completely different area. Did he fall into the yellow Medicine River he was describing? Was he met with foul play in the dark? The sudden end to the call and the disappearance of a young man into the night remains a heartbreaking and baffling enigma. Now, imagine this. You're walking along a busy street, minding your own business, when suddenly you're hit with an overwhelming sense of nausea. A strange, sweet smell fills the air, and a paralyzing agent makes you feel like you're about to collapse. This was the terrifying reality for the people of Mattoon, Illinois, during a 2-week period in 1944. It all started when a woman reported a prowler outside her window who sprayed a sweet-smelling gas into her bedroom, partially paralyzing her for a short time. Soon, dozens of similar reports flooded in. The attacker, dubbed the Mad Gasser of Mattoon, was described as a tall, thin figure who would spray a sickeningly sweet gas into homes, causing vomiting, nausea, and temporary paralysis in his victims. Panic gripped the town. The police and FBI were called in, but no physical evidence was ever found. No footprints, no fingerprints, no chemical traces. The attacks stopped as suddenly as they began, leaving the town in a state of fear and confusion. Was it a case of mass hysteria fueled by wartime anxiety? Or was there really a phantom figure stalking the streets of Mattoon with a mysterious chemical weapon? The case of the Mad Gasser has become a classic tale of psychological terror with no clear answer. Our fourth mystery takes us deep into the Green Mountains of Vermont, to a patch of wilderness known as the Bennington Triangle. This isn't just one story. It's a series of chilling disappearances that occurred between 1945 and 1950. It began with Mitty Rivers, an experienced 74-year-old hunter who was leading a group. He walked ahead of them and was never seen again. The only trace found was a single rifle cartridge in a stream. A year later, college student Paula Jean Weldon went for a hike on the long trail. Several people saw her start her journey, but she never returned. Despite one of the largest search efforts in Vermont's history, not a single clue to her whereabouts was ever uncovered. Then exactly 3 years to the day after Paula vanished, a veteran named James Tedford disappeared from a moving bus. He was seen by 14 other passengers. But when the bus arrived at its destination in Bennington, all his luggage was still on the rack, but James was gone. The most bizarre case might be that of 8-year-old Paul Jeffson. His mother left him playing near their pigsty for just a few moments. When she returned, he had vanished into thin air. Bloodhounds tracked his scent to a nearby crossroads, and then nothing. The trail just stopped cold. Locals whisper of curses and strange lights in the sky. Investigators are left with nothing but questions. How can so many people disappear without a trace in the same small area? Finally, we head to the small, unassuming town of Circleville, Ohio. In 1976, residents began receiving anonymous poison pen letters. These letters were written in a distinctive, blocky script and contained deeply personal and often threatening secrets about the recipients' lives, accusing them of affairs, corruption, and other misdeeds. One of the main targets was a school bus driver named Mary Gillespie, who was accused of having an affair with the school's superintendent. Her husband, Ron Gillespie, also received letters, one of which threatened his life. On August 19, 1977, Ron received a phone call. Furious, he grabbed his gun, got in his truck, and drove off. He died shortly after in a mysterious single-car crash. The coroner ruled it an accident, but his gun had been fired once, and the case was far from over. Suspicion fell on Mary's brother-in-law, Paul Freshour, who was convicted of attempted murder after Mary found a booby trap set up along her bus route. He was sent to prison, proclaiming his innocence. But here's the twist. The letters didn't stop. Even while Paul was in solitary confinement, the residents of Circleville, even Paul himself, continued to receive letters from the Circleville writer. The writer seemed to know everything about everyone. And to this day, their true identity has never been discovered. Who terrorized this small town for years, and how did they know everyone's darkest secrets? From a body on a beach to letters filled with hate, these cases push the boundaries of our understanding. They remind us that some questions may never have answers, and that the world is filled with mysteries that remain just beyond our grasp. Which one of these cases haunts you the most? Do you have a theory about what might have happened? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for joining us in the Vault of Secrets. Want to dive into more of the unexplained? Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'll see you next time.